Hey everybody, this is Ted Drozdowski, Senior Editor of Premier Guitar, and Steve Elo has been playing us in, and we are here with Joe Morgan here at Morgan Amplification. He's going to tell us about two new amps and a 4x12, right?
Yeah, I decided to change the design of a 4x12 for the first time like ever.
Well, let's start with the Tweed 20 first. Is that cool?
Yeah, that's great. Tweed 20 is an amp that I built for, it was actually a Nashville guy named Justin Ostrander who wanted a Tweed Deluxe that would keep up with a deluxe reverb. So he's playing in places around town or recording. He wanted something that would stay there, and so I built him an amp. And then a friend of his played it and then asked me to build him one. And then D-Laps played it and asked me to build him one. And then they're like, anyway, a few of them got out there. And then recently I decided to do a run just because I was bored and can build amps, and so I built like 10 of them, and those went pretty quick, but 2 of them were picked up by Rusty Anderson, who plays with Paul McCartney, and those are the amps that he's using on stage now with Paul in stadiums worldwide, even though it's just a tiny little 20-watt amp.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
And what inspired you? What were the things that you really kind of were looking at when you were putting? What were the things you were really looking at when you were putting this thing together? What's under the hood?
The big thing is Tweed is really cool, and I like the way Tweed sounds when you can really push it and it gets all squishy and you can roll back on your volume and cleans up and does all those things. But it's also really good if you can keep it tight and you can keep it together, and you can be at a volume that's loud enough where you can be unmiked in a small club, or work well with a pedal board, that kind of thing. And those were my main concerns. And so as opposed to like a conventional Tweed and it's super squishy, the Tweed 20 is it stays together. It's going to be a little bit tighter. It's not going to be that that conventional like just that really grindy, syrupy 12-watt Tweed, but it's going to have those overtones. And to do that, I had to change the tone stack a little bit, change the back end a little bit, but stay in that same family and that same vibe.
Okay. What kind of tubes are in there? What do you have?
That's need to know. So.
Okay.
Yeah,
what about the transformer? Anything you want to get?
Super esoteric.
Anything you can give away about that?
Yes, the transformers are made out of metal. Yeah, I'm using mercury magnetics transformers because those guys get tone. They really do. And a transformer is like the heart and soul of an amplifier. If your transformer tone is bad, it doesn't matter what you do to the circuit, you're not going to have a good amp. So going back to your tube question, I actually use a 12 AY7, a 12 AT7, 2 6V6s, and a 5 Era 4 rectifier.
And one of the things that I've noticed about a lot of your amps is that you keep the controls tight. There's nothing in there that doesn't need to be there.
Right. Yeah, I'm not trying to sell amps based on features. The only feature I'm really trying to sell an amp with is tone.
Right.
So if it's got to sound good, and it's got to work with a pedal board, and it's got to be bulletproof so you can use it in a pro situation. That's my gig. Those are the amps that I build. I'm not building 50 switches and knobs and lights and a giant flagship, 9-channel pedal board where you can get MIDI and everything else. I'm just building you a rig that's going to be as bulletproof as possible and sound great.
Now, this particular Tweed 20 we're looking at is in a special finish?
Yeah, that's something that Rusty wanted. He's a no Tolex kind of guy. And so we asked the cabinet shop if they could give me a no Tolex amp. And they did a really great job. This is really just Baltic birch. It's our regular cabinet. But our cabinet guy does an inlay in wood that simulates my piping. And it's a lot harder than it sounds, but it looks gorgeous.
Cool. And obviously we've got a standalone Tweed 20 here, but is this particular cabinet just is that cab specially designed for that head? Or?
That's my conventional 1x12, the same as you'd get like in a covered one. That one's just naked.
Well, and since we're talking about cabs, why don't we move to the 4x12 over here?
Yeah, the 4x12 is something I'm really proud of. That 4x12. If like when we're talking about NAMM, and I was saying before, if you walk around NAMM and you look at any 4x12 here, you're going to see the same box. It's basically you got 4 sides, a back, and then a baffle that gets screwed into place. Now you might have front-loaded speakers or back-loaded speakers, but those are pretty much your options. You might slant, straight, it's pretty much all the same design. And a floating baffle cabinet, when they put the baffle in, they screw it in, energy transfers at those screw points only. And so it can really deaden, especially like high-end harmonic overtones, your upper mids, and all clean tone. So 4x12s are generally known for being really cool for rock and roll, but outside of that, you wouldn't. I'm not buying a 4x12 to go out and do lovely clean tones in a small setting. This is a conventional, like my regular cabinets. All my cabinets, I use a dadoed fixed baffle style cab, meaning that when we put the baffle into the cabinet, it gets glued in all the way around. So that's making, every spot on that baffle is now part of the cabinet. So the whole cabinet resonates together. So when you play this, what you'll notice is upper end, mid-range, all your high end, your clean tones will sound like clean tones, as opposed to trying to make a 4x12 with greenbacks work with clean tones. And the speakers in this, again, they're just Chinese greenbacks. There's nothing fancy.
Cool.
Yeah.
What's the wattage on those?
Well, greenback is a 25 watt speaker, so we're looking at 100 watts.
Okay, so we talked about the Tweed 20, we talked about the 4x12. What's the pricing on those?
The Tweed 20 is $16.99 for the head. The natural cabinet's a little bit extra. I'm not sure what. We'll have to ask the cabinet department for that. And then my conventional 1x12 is $550. 4x12 is just like you for any other boutique 4x12. You're looking at $11.99.
Okay, and we've got one more app to take a look at over here. We've got a JS12 model. Steve, you want to play us in on that a little bit? Cool. So, Joe, we're obviously hearing a much different voice than on the Tweed on that one. So tell us about this amp.
The JS, it stands for Josh Smith. And Josh being a good friend of mine, he's been using my PR12 for a long time. And that's his main gigging amp and main recording amp when he's in LA. And these are just some of the things that Josh has asked for in his PR12. So just a couple of small changes. One is this amp has slightly less bass than a PR12. It also comes with the Josh Smith signature speaker from Eminence, which is his voicing on like an American style speaker.
And what wattage is that speaker?
It's a 65 watt speaker, right? So you're not going to blow it up with this amp for sure. But then it also has a boost switch. Is the boost switch on? Okay, go ahead and turn that off, Steve, and we'll. Yeah, and the boost switch just adds a lot more mid-range. It just gives Josh another option in the studio to get a little more gain out of the amp. So that's more the clean tone. That's the regular nature of the JS12 being out of the boost mode.
Okay. And what's the wattage on that one?
Well, it's got a 12 watt output transformer, but it produces about 20 watts. Yeah.
Okay. And I'm going to ask you about the tuba again.
Now it's like a conventional Princeton reverb. So except it's not conventional, I guess, because I'm only using 3 12AX7s, 2 6v6s, and again a GZ34.
Cool. And are these currently available?
Yes, they are all currently available.
Cool. And if people want to find out more about this and everything else that you make, where do they go to do that online, man?
MorganAmps.com.
Okay. Well, thank you, Joe. I really appreciate you being here. And thank you all for tuning in. We've got a lot more coverage of 2018 Winter NAMM coming up. Stay tuned.